Hi, it is time for Saturday morning crafting. This is Little Sister Chalks, and I'm Luana. Welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. I thought it's time to do some decorating for outside. We are getting our deck painted or cleaned and restained, I guess not painted, not this coming week, but the week after, so I can't really prep the deck or anything yet for outdoor pleasure and enjoyment, but I guess I can get things ready. So pillows are a really fun way to change things up and give your decor a little bit of freshness and newness. So I decided to do a pillow today. It's a lumbar, so the longer, it's 24 inches long by 12 inches high. And I'm going to use one of the new Peanuts Grow Happiness. I just love this. Woodstock's one of my favorites. So I thought this would be adorable. And I'm going to tilt you down so you can see what I'm doing. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I've got comments up here. I can see them. If you stop in live or on replay, please say hello. Let me know how you're doing. And if you, like I said, if you have any questions. So the first thing I did was put my ink mat inside. So this is sticky and it'll hold my fabric down. So I'm just going to press down again. And then my mat has measurements on it. I'm just going to make sure I'm relatively straight. And because we are using the stencil on fabric, we don't need to fuzz it. So if you're new, fuzzing is just taking off some of the stickiness. And you do that because you don't want the stencil to adhere so hard to your surface that it's hard to pull up and then stretches the silk screen, which is where the ink or the paste will go through. So I'm going to position 6.5 is about where I need to be from each side. That looks okay. I look relatively straight. Yep. And then I'm just going to press down and make sure there's no air bubbles. So another good way to do this is to take your squeegee and just kind of run it over, especially where the silk screen is, because bubbles will cause bleeds, and that's no fun. So I'm just doing it both ways. Usually when I chalk or ink, I only go one direction, but to make sure there's no bubbles, I went both ways. Then I've got black velvet ink, and I'm debating if I'm going to try to color in the woodstock and the flower. I won't do that today. I'm going to let this dry and then heat set it before I do the next step. And heat setting just makes the ink permanent on fabric so you can wash it. I'm going to give this just a little bit of a stir to make sure it's nicely blended. And to heat set, you can use an iron, and you would just use whatever setting is right for your fabric. Put parchment paper above and below the design, and I think it's 4 minutes. You keep the iron moving in circles. Or you can use a heat press, much quicker. So I invested in a heat press, and it's, again, like I think 305 or something like that, and 30 seconds. And you can move it around like you do the iron, but I don't think you have to do that. So I love ink projects, and it was because of the ironing to heat set, it was deterring me from doing that. So that's why I invested in a heat press, but you do not need an extra tool, which is wonderful. So then we just do what we normally do when we chalk, and I'm not going to hold this over. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to dip in and take a little bit of the ink, and I'm afraid, because I always make a mess, I'm afraid with black ink over a white pillowcase would just be not a good thing. And I'm not using a whole heck of a lot of pressure, just a little bit. I grabbed some more ink. And I'm just making sure that all that white that we can see through, that's the mesh of the silkscreen, making sure that's all covered. And do a little woodstock. And you can see I'm working top to bottom for the most part. Depending on what you're working on, sometimes you do need to go a different direction. I just find it's better to move in one direction. And then I'm kind of, as I'm going, picking up the extra ink. And we can put that right back in the jar. And I just have the G in grow, and be careful because I went far down there. I don't want to get ink on the pillowcase. All right, it looks like I'm well covered. Checking my fingers just to make sure I didn't stick them in anything. And then I'm going to peel from top to bottom or left to right, but just go one direction when you're peeling up so you don't stretch the silk screen. And I'm going to go slow because if there's spots that didn't cover, like his nose, we can lay that back down and just take our squeegee and hit that spot again. I think I might do it one more time. I'm going to pick up a little bit more ink. That looks better. The bottom of his nose still didn't pick up. This is why you want to go slow, because you can go back and correct. You can also fix afterward, but much easier while the stencil's still in place. All right, woodstock we need to fix. And ink doesn't dry as fast as, I want to do that one more time, as the chalk paste, so you have a little bit of time to work. It's hard to see too sitting here. I should have stood up. I'm going to get his feet. Just pick a little bit more ink up. Yeah. All right, let me try that again. I'm going to come and just push this down because I don't want to cause a bleed. So when you lay back down, just, oops, be careful. I just put ink on the table, so I'm going to have to watch when I turn this around. Do woodstock's tail. I'm just going to press down here. And I just put my cover of the jar in the paste. Okay, that looks good. Now we just got to do and I'm going to go over the letters, just going to do them one more time. Because I'm just going to press, make sure we avoid bubbles. All right, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more ink, and I'm just going to redo Grow Happiness down here. And you would think you could see it, but sometimes it's hard to pick up that you've missed spots or that it didn't quite go through as you were hoping. And that looks good. All right. Move this guy out of the way. And I'm going to be very careful as I turn them so you can see. Here we go. Go a little bit more this way. Super cute. And like I said, I may try to color in these things after it's completely dry. I'll probably give it a good few hours or even overnight. So come back tomorrow and see whether I colored those in or not, and see how it looks all done and stuffed. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you right back here next Saturday for some more Saturday morning chalking. Bye.